Hi, Northaven families and friends. Bob Roton here, and welcome to Northaven Voices. I'm excited today to be visiting with Renee Robison. So grateful to have you with us today, Renee, and we're looking forward to hearing your story. Thank you for joining us.
Absolutely. Glad to be here.
Good. So why don't we just start off like we always do? Why don't you tell us about who Renee is? Where are you from? What did you do? And what your passions are?
I grew up in Plainview, Texas, and from the third grade on and then I went to Texas Tech, and then I went into my career at Foley's in Houston as a retail buyer, and worked my way up through there, and was in the buying for different retail companies for 36 years.
Wow.
The last was with Tuesday Morning, based here in Dallas. I was with them for 19 years, and left as a merchandise manager. And it was a great career. It took me around the world, especially when I was at Tuesday Morning. We traveled a great deal.
Wow.
And, went to China, went to India, but I went to Italy, to Europe a lot, including Italy, like 14 times on the Tuesday Morning dime, which was awesome. That was all before 9/11. Yeah. And then, anyway, and so, but that's pretty much it. I retired in 2015.
Okay.
And life has really changed since then. We'll get to that later.
Yeah. So what brought you to Northaven? Now, you told me a little bit about your story when we were working in the church recently. So I would.
Well, when we moved to this house in 2004, Fish City Grill was a fairly new restaurant in the neighborhood, and we became regulars there, going at least once a week. And we became friends with Ron Bobbitt and Frank Efland.
Oh, really?
And they would tell us about our church, and they said, you should come sometime. So we tried it because it's only a block and a half from our house. So we actually walked to church. Yep. Anyway, after a few visits, we're like, yeah, we really like this church. And so when we had one of those great joining days, we joined. Okay. And I think that was in 2008. Okay. And we have been members ever since. We sit up in the balcony behind Martha and Ken. And we can see all the choir members really well, and we can look down on everybody's head and see what you're doing.
Yeah, that's right. Yep. When I was not in the choir, I'd sit in the balcony. And Tim sits there across from y'all. So.
Yeah. It's fun. It's great.
A great spot.
I love the church. It's a fabulous church to be part of.
Yeah, it is. So can you tell us a little bit about your faith journey then?
As it pertains to, I'm going to start with, I grew up in the Baptist church.
Okay.
And it's not really to my taste as I moved through college and matured, etc. Mm-hmm. I've been through several different places. I did go to church off and on and belonged to church. I was in the Presbyterian church for a couple of cities. Uh-huh. And was in another church here that you know well, Bob, when I first moved here. And then eventually when I married Leighton, we were looking for a church home together, and that's when we got to Northaven. So I've always been, I've been a Christian since I was like 8 years old, and always involved in the church when I was growing up, and then really just was an attendee and like to be lost in the church, not just like, don't ask me to do stuff, or don't, or not get involved. I might have been interested, but I didn't get asked, and I didn't put myself out there. Mm-hmm. So here's a really interesting story.
Okay.
In 2014, we took my parents to Seattle for their 60th wedding anniversary. And we were up in, forgetting the name of that, an island off of Washington, like as far away in the United States as you could get. And we were walking through a national park, and I saw this young lady. And I looked at her, and I'm like, I know you. And she looked up at me, and she goes, you do? And I said, yeah, you go to my church. And I didn't know who it was. I didn't know her name, but I could see her when I sat down up in the balcony. You could see her sitting down below us. It was Erica Coppage.
How funny.
And she was there on their national parks tour with her mom. And so I think that God had a hand in this. And, I had been interested in getting more involved in the church, but just had not really pulled the trigger on that. Okay. And God plays the long game. So Eric and I became friends on Facebook. She told me about her travels with Rory, Facebook page, etc. So we became that. And in 2015, I retired and I started painting. I had never painted before except for one of those sip and paint classes, and found that I actually had a passion to paint, and took it on by storm. Yeah. And so I posted my pictures on Facebook, and one day, about a year and a half after I had met Erica, she goes, "You ought to join the art group at church." And I said, "We have an art group?" I had no idea. Yeah. And she goes, "Yeah, Patty Harvey, runs this art group, and you really should get involved in with that." So she connected us, and I think the next day or the next week, I was there on the Monday art group painting with everybody. And I give Patty a really hard time because the very first week that I was there, she goes, "I've been kind of looking for somebody to take over this group for me." And I'm like, "Can I get a little feel of what we're doing first?" But interestingly enough, I eventually, a year later, took over the group. Yeah. And it's kind of evolved to different things. We do, we were always doing the vision wall, but we do more collaborative groups of it. We have the group of artists that work together when we were open. That's what we were doing. Yeah. And now our artists are working together on the backdrop of the sanctuary. Mm-hmm. So currently we have up the nativity scene, and you can't always get to see it that much. You're watching Laura May's stories, I believe, but we're changing every week. The figures are getting changed so that this week we had Mary and Joseph walking up the ramp to the nativity scene, and this coming week we'll have Jesus and Mary in the nativity, and then the baby Jesus will arrive on Christmas. So anyway, we do all kinds of fun projects, and we have a really great group. Yeah. And we're looking for more people. So the first thing I would have to say, the moral of the story about Erica and God's plan for me, is that we need to ask others to join our groups. If you're looking for more people to help you in what you're working in the church or anywhere else, people really want to be asked. Think before they go and reach out on their own and start finding their way. If they're asked, they feel invited in and welcomed. And I think that's something that we all need to remember.
Very good point. I agree with that. It's funny, though. I remember when I first was asked to do something at the church, be a part of something or lead something, it was like I maybe went to 1 or 2 meetings. Like, oh, sure. Yeah.
Well, we do kind of, we pull you right in. But everybody's so fun to work with. And I found in the art group that we have a real collaborative feel together. And one person may have an idea and another one bounces an idea off of that, and it goes from there. And one person may really feel inspired and take the lead in that particular project or design. Mm-hmm. And we have very different personalities, but they're all wonderful people that we all get along great. And we now have a Zoom call every Thursday morning at 10 o'clock, and it's called Creatives in Captivity. And Marty started this group in March, and right after we were in lockdown, and hoping to just keep people connected. And there's several calls like this of different groups, but ours is the art group. And then when Marty went on vacation in the summer, I took over the group since I had been the lead of the other group. And we have a great time. We have lots of laughing going on. If you've had art projects or writing, it's not just painters. Let me let you understand. We have authors, and Gail Smith is with us, and she's traveled the world, and so she shows us travel photos of, and makes a film kind of where she's been, and it lets us go travel since we're not getting to. And we've got these wonderful poets in our group, and Kim Batchelor has been reading us these Mary devotionals that you're reading every week. Wow. And it's just been a wonderful time. And Marty, I don't know if you know this, but Marty is a stained glass artist. So she has also been sharing some of her work. And I'm so sad to lose her, but I'm thrilled that she's going to have more time for things like stained glass. So she's wonderful.
Well, she is. I've seen her work. And also I thank you for, you post a lot on Facebook with what you guys do, and it's beautiful. And then there also is a Northaven, there is a Creatives in Captivity Facebook group, right?
There is. I post, the things that we show weekly, then I turn around and I post them on the Northaven Creatives Facebook page every week. Yeah. And that includes the poems and the writings, etc. So there's lots of different things to read. You can be just as involved as us, but you're also welcome to join. Anybody can join the group. Just give me an email, send me an email, and we're happy to, happy to let you in. Send you the link.
You hear that, folks out there? She's looking for some artists, or you don't have to be an artist.
Now, this is just for fun. This part of it's just for fun. So we're, if you want to join us. We also will continue to have our art group project, and you don't have to be an artist to belong.
Right.
We are looking for worker bees too. We need people that help us climb up on ladders. Bob just happened to be there when we were hanging the nativity scene the other day, and thank goodness, because April and I could not reach everything by ourselves across the 24 feet of the sanctuary wall. But, we need people that can cut construction paper and cardboard and things. We do cutting all the time. And, we just need lots of people to just join us. We have lunch when we're in the church and able to be together. We have lunch and we talk about the next project. And sometimes we just work on our own projects together.
Mm-hmm. Well, the main thing that I'm picking up is that you have fun and you connect.
A
lot of creativity, a lot of fun.
That's
really
fun.
Good.
And the Zoom calls, they're not critiques. They're literally about praising and oohing and awing over what we all do, because the variety of art that we bring to this, as you'll see on the Facebook page, is wonderful.
Well, I know what we've seen at the church virtually and when we were in person. You guys have done a beautiful job. I got to know you when Eric was leaving, and that's how, when y'all were preparing all of this arts, the presentations for Eric. So
and that was
beautiful.
The biggest contribution was from April Hall, who fortunately has retired in the last couple of years. And I would have to say I couldn't organize the group without April's contributions, and her skills as a graphic artist have really raised the level of what we're doing.
Well, I think you guys do wonderful work, and I'm glad you're having so much fun when you're all working together. So that is, and I enjoyed working with you and April the other day. So it was fun.
There's one other project that we'll need help for in the future. If someday we're going to get to have our art show at the church. Yeah. And this is a full-fledged real art show with outside artists and some inside artists as well. Yeah. And we're hoping that it's going to happen on April the 24th, but we always need more volunteers for the committee, and we'll need a lot of volunteers for the art festival when it does happen.
Right. Yep. I'm looking forward to that. It was disappointing.
I'm just
say that again. What's that?
I said, you're the boss. I'm just making a plug.
Well, that's going to be fun. I was disappointed that we couldn't have it. We were having fun making that happen. So it's going to be good. So
whether you want to help, or whether you want to contribute, or whether you know somebody who's an artist who might like to participate, we're interested in all of those things.
Right. And we'll start marketing that again really quickly here. So we're getting into our new year. So here we go. So it's going to be fun. So thank you for that, and thank you for all that y'all contribute to the church. And
it's a blessing. This church is a blessing.
Yeah, it
really is.
So how has your life been different than what you expected, Renee?
Well, I'm so blessed. As I'm going to say that multiple times. Mm-hmm. But I was blessed to be able to retire at an early age, at 57. Partly because my road ran out of pavement, and we found, and guess what? I just went on the trail and then found that living the trail was a much better life, or it's a much simpler life for me. I learned to, I didn't know I could paint. I was a crafter, but I was never, I never tried to paint. I got upset in high school art class and never went back. Never thought I could do this. So who knows, but the retail life was a really good life for me too. And I think that one of the things that I've learned from those years in business is that I have very good organizational skills, which have done me very well, not just at the church, but I'm also, involved in a garden club. And then I'm also become politically active in our neighborhood. That is one of the big surprises in my life. Before 2018, I never even had a yard sign. And now I'm the Democratic organizer for our neighborhood. And it's been so fun to get to know our neighbors better. We actually have quite a few neighbors, Democrats in our neighborhood. And if you're like me, you've been surprised that there are so many Democrats in Dallas. Yeah. So that's been really fun. But those organizational skills that all those years of working have really been strong, using the emails and using spreadsheets and just connecting with people. It's really been fun. Good. And managing people.
Yeah, good. Well, you have a lot of energy, and I love it because I have a lot of energy. So we have a lot of fun on the committee. And I want to also thank you and Leighton for y'all's involvement, and y'all worked the polls, and y'all were there a lot.
Oh, so fun. Yeah. So fun. The energy, and everybody was so excited, especially that first week. Lines around the building at Marsh Lane Baptist for voting, and people were so excited and so anxious to vote. And of course we didn't know which way they were voting. It's very nonpartisan there. You can't talk about it. Right. But I'm the little cheerleader everywhere I go. And I was running the lines like, you go here, you go there, or stand along the wall, whatever. But it's like, is everybody excited? It's a great day to vote, and it was a really good time.
Well, I know I voted there, and I remember seeing you guys. It was just so much fun. You were a cheerleader. You were like, come on.
Yeah, it was hard work, much harder than I expected it to be. And lots of people work the full 15-hour days. I don't know how they did that. I only did that on election day, and it was a long day.
Oh, man. But thank you guys for doing that.
It was really fun. We actually did get paid. If you ever want to do that, it's actually a paying job. Not a whole lot, but it does pay.
Yeah. But it's about giving back, right?
It is about giving back. And, I've just really become such a believer in the election process and how it works. And I felt very strongly about how ours worked. And I saw how secure our system was. And I feel all states are in that same place.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thank you again for that. So tell me, how is, what are do you have Christmas traditions, and do you have a favorite Christmas carol now that we're going into
Well, I guess this question was coming up in the executive meeting because Leighton asked me, and my favorite carol, I believe, is We Three Kings. And it's not so much the words as I love the tune. It's in a minor key, I believe, and I just really love it. I don't know if that's true if it's in a minor key, but it seems like it is to me. But it's, that's probably my favorite. Also, Let There Be Peace on Earth.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah. And I don't know if that's really Christmas, but to me, it's Christmas Eve.
Yeah. It is. I think Leighton said his was the Drummer Boy. Was that it?
Oh, yeah, probably is.
I can't remember what it was. I love that question though, because I thought.
I know. I like to decorate the Christmas tree to the Charlie Brown Christmas music.
Do you? Oh, you decorate to the music.
Yeah.
Do y'all have any traditions that are?
Well, our tradition really is, I do the tree and Leighton does the lights outside, and I was really I posted this year. It was really so fun to just pull out all the ornaments, and they're ornaments that I've received over a lifetime, and I just have all the memories of them. And some of them are things that my mother gave me, like Someone in Texas Loves You when I lived in Louisiana.
Oh.
And, there are things that she made when I was in high school, and there's another one that she made for me in 2001 when I actually did a triathlon. That's another thing that I never thought I would do. So I did a triathlon, and but she made this ornament of pictures of me they're cut little circle cutouts, and then they're all glued together into a Christmas ball.
Oh, how sweet!
And, yeah, it's really.
What was that?
Anyway, and then Leighton has his lights outside. He's got his flock of flamingos and the palm tree in our front yard. Now interestingly enough, Leighton and I both lived in Florida, in Fort Lauderdale at the same time, but we didn't know each other at that point.
Oh.
And then we both moved back to Texas, where we're from, and met eventually in 2001 in Galveston.
Well, how fun!
Yeah.
What a circle, huh? What a circle!
It is. Yeah. Anyway, so I'm going to go back to. So my family always have lots of traditions. We always like to get up first thing in the morning. We've snuck out in the middle of the night, and we put little things in each other's stockings, and we kind of get up and peek in our stocking, and then we get up and take turns. We're opening the gifts while we have a little bit of breakfast snack, and that's kind of our deal. And then we kind of lay around and like slugs until it's lunchtime.
And eat again.
Yeah.
Well, that's fun.
So this will be our first year without my dad, so it'll be a little bit sentimental.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. I didn't know whether to bring it up or not.
I'm sorry, I get teary-eyed. I want to talk about it, but
No, I
he
thought about
had
that.
a wonderful passing, and it was his time. He said, "I'm ready," and he was gone in a few days, and we watched him walk into the arms of God. Literally, it was the most amazing thing I've ever seen.
That you held on to that.
I do. It gives me so much faith to have watched that.
You just gave me goosebumps. I have a body. I love that, Renee. Thank you for sharing that. That's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Wow, I don't know I don't. Wow. So, what do you feel? You don't want me to ask that question, so I won't ask that one. Do you have a Bible story or a verse that are a mantra that you connect to mostly?
I think there's two things. One is, because the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. Psalm 20, I'm just like 28 or 27, something like that. But then also, I love the church's Bible verse, Micah 6:8. And that's kind of become my mantra. What more does God ask of us than to seek justice, love kindness, and walk humbly with God? And I think I struggle with all of those. I try hard, but I think I struggle with all of those. But they're something to really strive for.
Wow, I like that. Yeah. What was Micah what now again?
6:8. And
repeat it. I think that's a powerful statement because that's
this is kind of it's not exact when I say it, but what more does God ask of us but to seek justice, love kindness, and walk humbly with God?
Yeah.
I really,
seek justice. And walk kindly. Yeah.
It kind of falls in line with another verse, but my father gave me a book in the early 80s, and it was called "As a Man Thinketh." That he marked out man, and he wrote "As a Woman Thinketh."
Oh my goodness!
And basically it says, "As a man thinketh, so is he." There's more to the verse, but I like that part of it, and I think that says a lot about who it is. And I told you earlier, you were going to say, "What makes you happy?" Well, or what's your happiest moment? It was like, I'm just happy all the time, almost all the time. And I think if you think happy thoughts, then you're going to be a happy person.
I totally agree with that, Renee. I totally agree. I think that's the reason why you have so much energy. It's like, this is the day. I
think I can do it. And I have learned, if I think I can do it, I can do it. Leighton and I walked the Camino de Santiago in Spain, and I thought that was the craziest thing, to think that we could walk 500 miles across Spain, but we did it.
I remember, and y'all came back and told the story, didn't you?
Yeah, we did, and that was the most amazing experience of my entire life.
Wow.
Yeah, it was, and it wasn't just a religion. We met the most amazing people, but it was very empowering to learn that you could do something like that you could walk 15 to 20 miles every day for 32 days.
Mm-hmm. I remember the pictures, and I remember you were posting on Facebook quite often, but you are doing a blog like every day.
It was sort of, I did a daily of this is what we did and what we accomplished, and kind of started out with, this is crazy, or I made it to the day, maybe it'll happen, and by the time it's like, I know we're going to make this, by the time we got to the end.
Oh, that's great.
Wonderful.
What a wonderful journey. I don't like art, and now you're all in art.
I never, I never painted, and now my life has changed a lot since 2015.
Now you're creative like crazy, and then you ran a triathlon, did a triathlon.
That was a long time ago, but you can do it if you think you can. You have to train for it. You have to practice at it. I practice at my art almost every day if I can.
Yeah.
And we walked and walked and walked, training every day, trying to get ready for that Camino.
Well, okay. Here's the last question.
Okay.
And I always ask. This is kind of a common thing for me to ask, but it is: how do you want to be remembered?
I want to be remembered as a helper and as a person who brings joy to others.
Beautiful.
It's pretty simple.
Well, I know you bring joy to others, and because you're a great servant, you and Leighton both are great servants at Northaven, and I'm just so grateful to get to work with you on the committee.
I'm grateful for all you're doing on Connect. It's amazing. Very, very creative on your part, what you've come up with, Bob.
Oh, thank you very much. We have fun. See, we're one of those groups that have fun too, so just make it have fun. Thank you for this today, Renee, and I appreciate you so much.
Absolutely.
And have a wonderful day, and we'll see you soon. You take good care. Bye.
Bye.